Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a tribute to the most popular 30 caliber magnum in the last 50 years. We're going to discuss the 300 Winchester Magnum. We're going to talk its history, how it became so popular, and why 49 years later it is dominant as it's ever been. The year was 1963. Winchester introduced the 300 Winchester Magnum. The year before, the very popular 7mm Remington Magnum had come out, and Winchester needed a surefire cartridge that was going to dominate, which it has. Now, prior in 1958, Winchester introduced the 264 Win Mag, and unfortunately that cartridge just never became what they had hoped it to be. So 5 years later, they introduce this one, which is actually not identical to the 264 Win Mag or the 338 Win Mag. The differences with the 300 Win Mag is that this is lengthened to 2.620 inches, so not the 2.5 inches that you usually see. And what they did was they shortened the neck so that this cartridge could still fit in a standard length action or a long action like the 30-06. And so that's why you see these bullets are seated in a little deep, is so that they can still fit in the standard length action. It didn't take long before people started realizing just how great this cartridge is. It's a little bit more powerful than a 7mm Remington mag. It's cheaper to get than a 300 H&H, and it's not the shoulder bruiser that the 300 Weatherby mag is. And so it just fits in this perfect little area of power, yet not going to destroy your shoulder. Since it has become so popular, you can get the 300 Win Mag in just about any rifle, which makes it a very affordable cartridge. Factory ammo for the 300 Win Mag is plentiful, as I said. I think just about every ammo manufacturer makes ammo for the 300 Winchester Magnum. One downside to most of the 300 Winchester factory ammo is how mild the velocities are. You will find with most ammo with a 180 grain bullet going around 2,960 feet per second. For a 300 Win Mag, that is pretty mild because you can hand load it up to 3,100 feet per second. Let's go ahead and look at the potential that you can have in a 300 Win Mag when you hand load it. What's great about the Winchester Magnum is that it's in 30 caliber, so it's extremely versatile with bullet selection. Most people will shoot anywhere from 150 up to 200 grain bullets. Obviously, you can shoot even bigger bullets and smaller. The 150 grain, hand loading it 3,300 feet per second. Some books have it at 34. A 165 grain at 3,200. Again, the 180 grain class bullet, 3,100 feet per second. And the bullet I'm going to use in this comparison today, not the interlock, but an AccuBond long range bullet that's a 190 grain. You can get that at 3,000. And Nosler says you could probably get 3,050 if it's compressed. But as I said, extremely versatile and plenty of power. Quickly, let's just look at the ballistics. Where we got the 190 grain AccuBond long range, a muzzle velocity of 3,000 feet per second, muzzle energy of almost 3,800 foot-pounds. Let's take it out to ethical hunting distances of 400 yards. It's almost going 2,400 feet per second, and your energy is, well, 2,418 foot-pounds. Very good. Also, this cartridge is pretty darn flat as well, 23.5 inches. And I just have it set to 500 as well. The bullet's going 2,254 feet per second, 2,145 foot-pounds, and only 42.5 inches of drop. I thought it'd be fun just to show how the 300 Win Mag compares to its competition. So let's start with the classic, the standard 30-06 Springfield with the 190 grain AccuBond long range. And you can get that hand loaded around 2,750 feet per second. Your muzzle energy, 3,191 foot-pounds, very good. And at 400, pretty darn impressive, almost 2,000 foot-pounds of energy. Next up is the 7mm Remington Magnum. We're going to use the 168 grain AccuBond long range, and hand loading it, you can get that 3,000 feet per second. Your energy, about 200 more foot-pounds than the 30-06, maybe a little more than 200 foot-pounds. Anyway, at 400 yards, your energy is a very impressive 2,169 foot-pounds. Now, the 300 Winchester Magnum, loaded with the 190 grain AccuBond long range, it's also going 3,000 feet per second. And I know it could probably do a little more, but I think it's safe to say you can get 3,000 feet per second. Your energy is almost at 3,800 foot-pounds, and at 400 yards, you're at 2,418 foot-pounds of energy. So about 250 more foot-pounds than the 7 Mag. So how does it compare to the bigger 300 Weatherby Magnum? Well, the Weatherby is going about 150 feet per second faster, give or take 50 feet per second. Your energy at the muzzle, almost 4,200 foot-pounds, and at 400 yards, 2,688 foot-pounds. So a little more than 200 more foot-pounds than the Win Mag. And so you're not getting a whole lot more out of the Weatherby. And lastly, how does the 300 Win Mag compare to its older sibling, the 338 Winchester Magnum? Is it worth it to get the bigger caliber? Well, let's look. A 225 grain AccuBond going roughly around 2850 feet per second. You'd have to hand load it to get that fast. Energy, it's a little bit more than the Win Mag at 4,059 foot-pounds. And at 400 yards, the sleeker, higher BC 300 Magnum helps it. And they're roughly about the same. A difference of about, I don't know, 30 foot-pounds. So you really can't go wrong with either one. No cartridge is perfect, so let's look at the drawbacks of the 300 Win Mag. First off, a lot of people don't like it that it's belted. It's not really needed today. And the other thing that people don't like is how short the neck is. You usually want a little bit longer neck than the Win Mag has. And the other thing is that it's limited by its standard length action. So really these bullets are eking into your powder capacity, and ideally you don't really want that. With all that being said though, it's a great cartridge. This thing, you can find ammo everywhere for it. It has very good power to take anything in North America. Your amazing selection of rifles and affordable ammo makes it the ideal North American big game cartridge.